Green Island Gardens. You'd hardly believe it was November already. There's still so much colour in the garden and lots to see. One of the plants I'm most commonly asked about at this time of year that we have in the garden is this beautiful perennial that is flourishing behind me here. It's called a pokeweed. This one is Phytolacca americana, the American pokeweed. Phyta is the Greek name for leaf, and lacca is the Greek for the scarlet dye which is secreted by the carrier scale insect. And these dark inky berries were previously used for actually using dyes and dark black inks. These plants are unusual in that they're a perennial, but they grow to this height every year, and they have these beautiful flowers which start in midsummer, and actually the flowers are completely petalless. They're usually green or white and then mature to this dark pinky colour. And then the berries form, and you can see the different stages and colours of the berries. They start off quite green and then mature to deep red and burgundy, and finally to this deep inky black colour. And they hang glistening, shining right through the winter until we get the first really, really hard frosts. A lot of people look at these berries and think, uh-oh, and they would be right to. This plant is highly toxic, but would you believe it's only toxic to mammals? So these berries are loved by a lot of the birds, so it's good to grow it for the birds as long as you're sure nobody's going to go along and try and eat them instead of blackberries. In fact, the shoots of it and the new leaves, when they emerge in the spring, can be cooked and eaten. And they were used in ancient medicine as well, Chinese medicine, for actually treating hormones, hormonal and menopausal symptoms. But later on, they become deadly poisonous, so you have to be careful. This growth all emerges from an enormous woody rootstock, which actually resembles a mangold or a turnip. And that is highly poisonous as well, so don't try and eat that. But these stems give such a beautiful colour, which just blends beautifully with these lovely hanging berries here. So say this is the American version, Phytolacca americana. Phytolacca's a native to North America, South America and East Asia. And in a moment I'll show you the Chinese pokeweed. But this one is the American pokeweed, and I think it's probably my favourite. It just looks so statuesque, and I love the way that the berries, the panicles just dangle and hang. But a really nice, unusual plant. Not often offered in nurseries, and our experience is that it really, really hates being in pots, which is probably why it's quite difficult to get hold of them. But if you can get one that's been newly lifted and potted, plant it in your garden and it will grow away for years and you'll be rewarded. It does take a few years until the rootstock matures enough to give you a plant of this size. This is fully mature and it's up between 2 to 3 meters, and all of this is just coming from the one rootstock. Now this is the other Phytolacca we grow here. This is Phytolacca polyandra, and this one is the Chinese pokeweed. Very, very similar, the panicles here, but you can see it's a much more upright growing shrub or plant. The leaves are slightly wider, not quite so long and elongated, and they don't actually colour as well as Americana does in the autumn. The other difference is that the flower spikes and berries are held in upright panicles like this. Now, Phytolaccas do seed themselves around quite happily. The birds eat them and will deposit them when they obviously get rid of them. And so they can pop up just about anywhere in the garden. They're easily removed when they're young, but if you leave them a little while, then those big tap roots do get down and they can be a bit more tricky to remove. But they're never a problem. There's always somebody that's glad to take one off my hands. What I'm going to do next is show you one of the roots. So we're going to go back to Phytolacca americana, and I'm going to dig one up just to show you. You'll be amazed by the size of the roots. So we've returned to our Phytolacca americana, and you can see here we've got quite a few younger plants. In fact, there's some really tiddly ones. This is one probably that's seeded and grown just this year. So if I dig that one up, for example, because I don't want it growing here, even that plant's got quite a big root, you can see there, and they just hate being in pots, as I say. So I'm actually going to dig a lot of these ones out, but I'll get one of the bigger ones just to show you. I might regret saying I was going to do this, but let's have a go. So I've actually broken that one, and in fact this is really not that big a root, but you can get the idea of how they resemble a parsnip or a root vegetable. And you can see this, well, there's actually two entwined there. The normal growth of the root is like this, hence they hate being in a pot because they want to go down, down, down. Very drought resistant, never suffer even in the hottest of summers, so a really, really good plant for giving a long, long season of interest. So thank you for watching once again, and please remember to like and subscribe.